Hi friends, welcome to my Lunchtime Tangles here in Colorado. I'm in my studio in Estes Park, and today I would like to celebrate spring with you with a beautiful botanical-like Zen-tangle pattern by Mimi Lempart. It is called catkin, and I think she also refers to it as pussy willow, and you're going to see why for very obvious reasons. The project we're going to do today is actually inspired by one of my favorite teacups that I inherited from my Swedish grandmother. I actually use all these teacups that she gave me on a daily basis because I'm a big tea drinker. So here it is, and I will show you that closer, and you'll see that my design really was inspired by this teacup. Also, I have the wonderful news to announce the winner of my anniversary giveaway. Thank you to all of you who participated, and I really appreciate the beautiful comments you wrote to me in my email. Unfortunately, there can only be one winner, and Lisa H. from Suwan, Georgia, sorry Lisa, I don't know if I'm pronouncing your city right or not, was the first to answer the question. So let me just give you a recap. I asked you, what does the name of my golden retriever mean? And her name is Bellina and means little beauty in Italian. My husband is half Italian and half German, and he saw her and just immediately thought she was so beautiful. So he called her Bellina, and I will try to include some pictures of her someday, maybe here today. We'll see if we can find this amazing one of her little face. She's getting to be an old lady these days, but we still love her very much. And Lisa was kind enough to say, give Bellina a hug and tell her thanks, she's my lucky dog. So Lisa really appreciates winning and likes following my YouTube channel. She chose, out of the gifts that I offered, I said she could have a free video class or one of our small leather hand-stitched laser engraved journals, and she really liked the writing journal. She chose this pattern, my signature pattern called Swirl of Life, in this beautiful kind of cognac colored leather that we get from Italy, and it has a pen loop so that she will never be without a pen when she goes to write in her journal. And the wonderful thing about this, other than it's hand-stitched and handmade, it is refillable. So we just take out the filled up written journal, and I sent her a refill as well, and then she can just pop it back in to the cover, and she's got like a brand new journal again. Thank you again, Lisa, and I did give Bellina a big hug from you, just so you know. So, without further ado, let's celebrate spring. Let's push it here in the Rocky Mountains. We hardly have any spring. It's very cold today, and I hardly see any sign of it up here other than a few crocuses and some buds on the trees. But I know that where you live, it's bursting, I'm sure. Let's get started. So here are some inspirations for you, and this is catkin, the pattern we're going to work on today, and this is my grateful pattern that we will build on from last time. These are really, really old. Look, I even had my old chop on this. I think it was from 2012. This is kind of a fun one. I just worked this one up because I wanted to see it in the natural colors, kind of the catkin colors, and I love the Renaissance tiles because they show the white so well. There's one, and then here's another one from my sketchbook, proof that it is very old, right here. And then I'll just show you one more quickly. And I'm showing you these because, you know, I try to incorporate them into my daily tangles, but this is kind of a hard one to do that with since it's so open. So for example, on this, I find that using the aura line works really well, or some other kind of background that lifts the catkin forward. So that's why today I chose a very kind of straightforward floral composition. We're going to do this. So I did one to practice, and then I had such fun with it that I did three. So I kind of made it so that you could put them all together like that. Sort of a fun, even more another option for a composition on your card. So you could keep doing that atop your paper. Okay, enough inspiration. Let's go for it. This one won't take too long. That's why I'm talking so much. We are just going to use our basic Zen-tangle tile and the basic Zen-tangle tools, which is an 01 Micron pen, a soft graphite pencil, and a tortillion. That is it. So I'm just going to start with some corner dots so that we can later on add that fun little border. It's always best if your composition isn't just floating around. I think it's nice to have the border, at least on this tile and this composition. Then I wanted to show you up close. Look at this. So I'm gonna use this as my inspiration. So I'm gonna try to do my string with these particular lines, and you'll see what I mean. I'm going to start with my catkin stem. And then there's this little crossing branch, and that leaves us some space in here for the grateful blossoms that we're going to put in. So I guess we should probably start with catkin. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that. And you can, of course, vary this with however many little branches that you want to include. Catkin goes like this. After you've got your branches, you just want to put a little triangle wherever you want. It's kind of an elongated triangle where you're going to build your bud from. Do you see that? How it's. And then the next step is to go you want to orient the bud a little bit further away from the branch. So you make a crescent. Notice how I've tilted it away from the branch, and the reason is we want to use this and just really give it a nice full body. Otherwise it's kind of smushed on the branch to do, but that's my word of caution. So let's do another one up here. Crescent. This one doesn't matter because there's no branch over there. We can do a nice big fat bud. Join it like this and leave it open so that we can do a little bit of stippling in there to indicate that texture of the pussy willow. Okay, let's do another one in here, and I am going to make this one a little smaller. Again, I'm tilting that crescent away from the stem. It's always nice to have a variation in size when you do these things. Looking at my cup, I kind of like this where the two buds are really close to each other. So I'm going to emulate that here. I'm going to put one down here and then one pretty much adjacent. So one thing I didn't say, I'm doing this little triangle and I'm taking off for the crescent at the top of the triangle. Just a few simple strokes. I just love this tangle. And then you just continue on placing these little pussy willow heads wherever you want. You can add more stipples if you'd like. You can make your buds really fat or a little bit more shallow, just like they are in nature. Let's do one more here. I guess we could call this a sickle as well as a crescent, right? Already so pretty, huh? Maybe I'll go a small one here, just to fill that. And then I'm just going to do a little stem of, I'm calling this flux leaves. I don't really know if this is a tangle, but basically it's like our fescue, right? Fescue goes like this. We learned fescue, I think, in our very first Denver Botanic Gardens YouTube with our cruffle. So I'm just going to truncate that, make that same similar head, and then I'm just going to meet up and continue down the stem. You can vary the width between them. They can be closer together or a little bit spaced. You could even do an odd crossover here and there, just like it. You can view this also as a Rix Flux, kind of like mini Rix Flux, which we've also done. And then I just top it off with a leaf at the top. There's that, and now we're coming to the fun part of putting a cluster of my grateful blossoms down here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Remember, if you draw behind, it's really a beautiful compositional element. I'm kind of hugging the stem here, making my heart on grateful, making that Sanibel scallop. And let's do one here. He's got a little bit close there. You might want to think about that better. This is a demo, so I didn't think about it as much as I did here. I left more space for those blossoms to kind of be more visible and easier to draw than always drawing behind. And then to loosen this up, I did do a few little fescues. So here we go. Let's put a couple in. I'm kind of a fescue maniac. You'll take your time and think more about where you're going to place these and make your composition just how you want it. And then I'm going to add this really fun tangle called beaded, right? That's this one here. It's nothing more than little spheres along a thread. They look like rosary beads actually to me. So I'm going to just put a pencil string in. It's always nice to have little loopy sort of things to loosen this up. Another pattern I used in this one was, what's that called? Organza. I love organza and placing those in little bouquets. It just looks like it came from the florist. So here we go. On these, I like to leave a little bit of a sparkle on one side, so it almost looks like a jet bead. And you want to place them, you know, give them some distance in between. That one got kind of big, huh? Oh well. This is Zen-tangle. Not perfect Zen. That's what my colleague and wonderful teacher Barbara Langston always says. This is not perfect Zen. And I am not perfect, and I don't care. It's really nice Zen flow, this beaded, with making these little circles. Very relaxing. So what's beautiful about catkin is that, as you see, you've got thick and thin line built into this pattern. And so my little gratefuls are lacking there. So I'm going to add some lively line. And remember, like I say, when you're doing your lively line, you just emphasize a few lines. You don't want to do all of them, or else it's not lively. So just take a moment to kind of turn it this way and that, and see if you need any more catkins or if you need any more fescues. Then what I like to do, which is kind of more botanical, I like to add a few more of those little, I think they're called bracts. No, this is the bract. Mervy would reprimand me. But these little things that hold the bract on the stem, I like to add a few so that it looks like some of those little catkin heads have fallen off. I think it adds a little something. Okay, now I think we're ready to shade. Catkin is super simple to shade. All you need to do is put a little graphite alongside that crescent and some down at the base, and then you will just blend that towards the light. I really like this in black and white because catkins are very similar in, with those little gray tones. I am seeing some places that I could use eraser to erase the string lines. And then we're going to shade our grateful. And remember, if you get your catkins a little dark, you can always take a kneaded eraser and just lift a little. And when I lift, I like to also go back with my tortillion and just smooth out that transition. You remember, you really want this to have the darks. And then I'm going to take my PN, which is a little thicker, and I'm going to make one of those fun little wavy, kind of thick and thin borders. These add such character. Start and stop, get thick and thin. So you kind of sit back and look at it and see where you need maybe a little bit more line. You could also emphasize that branch that's holding the pussy willows. And then don't forget to put your chop on the front and sign the back. Actually, on my other ones, I hid the chop a bit more down in here. And what I did for my little blossoms is you can just now take your colored pencil or your wash of watercolor and put that right over this, because what we have created here with our shading is called a grisaille, or an underpainting. And it's giving that little blossom its form already, so that it's very three-dimensional. So all you do is you put your wash on the top and add some highlights with some white jelly roll or white colored pencil. Get some color layering going. You know me and color layering. I didn't just put pink on. I put pink and magenta and a little bit of really dark, almost a violet color in there. So have fun creating an Easter springtime card. Thanks for joining me for Catkin, and I'd love to see some of your creations. Some of you are incredible artists. I have been so enjoying seeing what you do after you do my tutorials. And again, my student Facebook page is called Annie's Botangle Alumni. I hope to see you there. Thanks for joining me.